Hello, can you hear me, Janet?
Yes, I can.
Oh, you're on mute, but I think you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, cool. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'm not trying to be unfriendly. I just know that you're recording.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Brad.
Hey there.
I can't hear you guys. Hold on. I don't understand why I can't hear.
I was on mute. Can you hear me now?
Muted. Ah, yes. There we go. Okay. Can somebody?
Hello.
Yay! I can hear you. Hi, Natalie. Got Kelly coming. How is everybody today?
Good.
Hi, we're good. Thank you. And you?
Yeah.
Getting through day 3 of what temperature?
Yeah, what is it today out there? You know, when it gets this high, you just don't go out there.
Yeah.
What we got? Well, it's only 94 today.
Yeah.
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 To Chick-fil-A not Chick-fil-A, sorry, Chicken Express, quite a difference there. On Saturday, and I felt so bad for them, their air conditioning was out.
Oh,
Wow.
no. That's awful.
Gosh.
That would be.
Wow.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Michelle. Nice to see you. Hi, Kelly.
Hey there. How are you?
Good.
Long time no talk to.
I know. It's so nice to have you. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome.
So, how many of you have harmony in your top 5 strengths here today? I think quite a few of you do, actually. Natalie, you do? I didn't realize you did. Yeah, that's interesting. You're like me. You're like half aggressive, half nice.
I'm all nice, but I'm nice pushy.
Yeah. Yeah, Natalie's one of the very few who has activator with the harmony. That's very rare to have that. Anybody else? I know, Michelle, you have it in your top 5, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I have it in my top 10, and Janet has it in her top 5. I think it's your number 1, Janet, if I remember correctly. I think for you, harmony was really high.
Yeah.
Oh, Chad's here. Hi, Chad.
Yeah, I'm thinking harmony was my first one, wasn't it? Let's see. I'll have to go look.
It's high for you. I just can't remember how high for you.
Yeah. Let me go in and I'll look. I think it is my first one.
Chad, I said hi before you had your headphones on. We got Anitra and John. Okay, I think we got just about everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Who's number 4?
It's my number 4. Empathy. I was thinking empathy or harmony, one of the two.
Gotcha.
Empathy is my one.
And John, what did you say?
Let me see real quick. I think I'm number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hey, I'm not too harmonious.
That's because you're highly strategic. Strategic people usually aren't very harmonious.
Now we know.
Oh, I'm 7. I had no idea.
And we've got a lot of empaths on the call today too, which is what you see a lot of times when you have the harmony. Not for me. Empathy is way down the bottom, even though my harmony is high.
Yep, number 1.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is going to be great. So I just to let you guys know, I had a great time studying this over the last week. I really got some insights into the strength as I, thought about it on a multitude of levels. It is a strength that shows up 20% of the time in people's top 5 strengths. So that is, I would say, in the middle, right? It's not in the single digits. It's not in the 30%, but there's a huge chunk of the population that has this as a top 5 strength, and probably an even greater, percent that has it as a top 10 strength. It does fall into the blue, which is the relationship building category. And that in the work zones, it falls into the moderative zone. And so really what you can think about with harmony is it is the straight up collaboration strength. If people have harmony, they want to collaborate, they want to work together, they want to come to agreement and into an alignment. And so if any of you are ever having trouble collaborating, if you can find a harmonic person to talk to and say, how would you go about doing it? Their way is usually the collaborative way. It's not the fast way per se. It's not the efficient way. It's the collaborative way, which with people can end up actually being quite efficient. So here are its attributes. People with harmony are peaceful, they're accommodating, and they're highly collaborative, and they want that from you as well. And that's a big deal for them. Some strengths don't need you to replicate what they, what they give, although most strengths like it. Harmony really does need that. They need you to work with them and engage with them in a way that's accommodating, peaceful, and highly collaborative. Beneath it all, they're seeking consensus, they're seeking agreement and alignment. They really enjoy getting into agreement and into an alignment with people. Conflict, in their opinion, is absolutely unnecessary to them. So which strength did we just study that had high amounts of conflict? Which strength embraces that conflict? Do you guys remember?
Was it command?
It was command. So command is the exact opposite of harmony. Command is highly independent. It's commanding. It loves conflict. It loves negotiating. It sees conflict as the first step to resolution. It's going to come in and, be that wrecking ball or bombard things just to let it all fall to pieces so you can scoop it up and put it back together. Harmony is like, no, it's like, please please don't do that. Let's just be nice and keep it all together and make sure everybody's okay and like keep everybody talking and working together. And they're just extremely peaceful. And when they feel that conflict roll in from somebody, they can shut down. They can avoid it at all costs. They can become passive aggressive because, for example, if someone's just talking and talking and talking and imposing their views and their opinions and this and that, the harmony person won't necessarily say anything. And then they start feeling suppressed. And when they start feeling suppressed, then they start to lash out in really interesting ways. So like, if you've ever had that experience where you're working with somebody and just all of a sudden they lash out at something and they're never like that, they're always just accommodating and agreeable, then they could be high harmony and they could just be feeling like their voice is not getting heard. And when that happens, then it can kind of come out sideways for them. They love to listen and they love it when people listen to them as well. They're also extremely good at saying, look, maybe I'm not the expert. Maybe someone else needs to be heard here in order for the group to come to an agreement alignment. So they actually proactively seek out experts and bring them into the group to help everybody get aligned on something. They make really good program managers because of that, because they get people in a room, they make sure everybody's voice is heard, they make sure the experts are brought in, and then they all, they get the group leaving all on the same, this is what we're doing, the same page, this is what we're doing, we're aligned, let's leave the room and all start working towards a particular direction. The other thing that's interesting about them is that they're very practical and they like to stay in the practical sense of things. And sort of the here and now, and also the, what's the clear action topics? Let's just stay on the logic, stay on the practical. We don't need to get overly dramatic. We don't need to be, dreaming of the future. We don't need to be looking at the past and bemoaning the past. It's all about just, let's just talk about what we need to do. Let's get everybody's voice out on the table. Let's discuss it peacefully and kindly. They have a trouble with intellects sometimes because intellects are those high debate people who really love to have those intellectual discussions, which can get heated, and they don't mind having the discussion, but they certainly don't like it when it gets into that friction zone and people start getting feelings hurt or people start getting upset. That's where they kind of go, okay, I'm done with this conversation, until you calm down. Questions, thoughts? Anything?
I remember working with a lady one time and we were in a conference room and listening to this, I'm like, oh, she must have been harmony, because nobody, it's like the beginning of the meeting and everybody was talking and she was trying to add her, her 2 bits, which was good information. And nobody would stop and listen to her. And finally she was like, people, calm down. I'm talking. I need you to listen to me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be that way.
Yeah. Again, we who knows what other strengths she had surrounding it. I have harmony in my top 10. I feel very harmonious. I value it tremendously. But I also have intellect at number 7. So I will sacrifice the harmony for an intellectual discussion or to, so like if everybody's learning, if that, and I think that's the essence of my coaching, right? If I feel like I can help somebody and I feel like they can learn from something, then I'll breach my harmony contract and I'll say, okay, let me not be harmonious for a minute. Let me say something really hard and that could hurt your feelings, but it needs to be said. But it's not comfortable for me. I don't know about you guys that have harmony, but that's not comfortable to do that sometimes.
It's very comfortable. But yeah, the passive aggressive part, I see John chimed in also, but yeah, harmony is my number 6. And in that scenario that you described where someone's just taking command and they're not considering everyone else's, I would never let that happen to me, but the includer in me, if I see someone else that's happening, then that's when that sarcastic remark about let someone else have, or leaning towards let's hear from someone else or take someone else's.
Right.
ideas into consideration, I
Yeah.
would definitely do that.
And I think like what we have to do as harmonic people is say what we're feeling is valid. We're getting heightened emotionally because we're starting to be like, what are you doing? Right. So instead we got to pull back and just go, we need to say what we're going to say, but we need to not say it sarcastically, or we need to not be passive aggressive about it, but we still need to communicate it and, you know, talk about boundaries or talk about what's appropriate, or say, you know, this is not effective. But it takes a lot of practice for harmony to be able to say things without lashing out when they're getting upset or frustrated about something, because again, they don't like friction or confrontation. So the fact that they're having to go there is not fun, and it's not an enjoyable process for them.
And I guess in my case, it wouldn't be passive aggressive, it would be aggressive passive.
What do you mean by that?
Because I make it a point to let it be known I'm doing this, but I do it in a light, humorous manner most of the time. So it is aggressive, but I try to make it passive with the humor and let you know that, hey, I'm trying to get this point, but hey, no hard feelings. Let's carry on. Just let you know, I do need you to pay attention to me or this person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that means that you're trying to be kind, but you're also not afraid to be assertive and to say what needs to happen in that moment, in your opinion. But that, yeah. And it probably helps that you have some other strengths ahead of it, kind of like I do. Whereas, you know, people who it's their top one, it can just be it can just be painful to do that.
And again, I do have positivity and includer in my top 5, and communication in my top 5.
Oh, you've got communication. That helps so much.
Yeah. And see, I've got that too, but I'm the one with harmony being 4. I accommodate and I reach a breaking point.
Yes.
And that's when I just fly off the handle.
Right.
And it's like, I've had enough. It doesn't matter what I do, what I say, to try and move the conversation into a better place.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, you're not listening to me. And then that's when I just go off the deep end.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen very often. It's very rare.
So what's interesting about what you're saying is like, so that girl that was on here that one time that had command and harmony in her top 5, I talked to her a long time about that, because she said she'll give you once, twice, but on the third time is when the command kind of comes out and puts her foot down pretty hard. And I feel like that is very similar to what harmony does, depending on its other strengths. But like harmony, like especially at the top, will just go, I'm trying to accommodate, I'm trying to come out, I'm trying to work with you, I'm trying to agree with you, I'm trying to collaborate, but we hit a break point, right? Where we're just like, okay, I can no longer, this is not working, right? And some of the suggestions you'll see in the slides to say is, at that moment, instead of losing it, partner with someone else that does that better. Like I'll go to my brother sometimes and be like, I give up. You got to go talk to these people. Like and he's command. And I'm like, and I don't get him involved early, because if I get him involved early, then he crushes it from the beginning. And that's not what I want. I want to try to resolve it and be peaceful and harmonic and collaborative until I need that. So that's one way to do it. Other ways are to read some books around how to deal with those situations in a more positive, productive way. So when you do hit your break point, you go, okay, I'm going to do this now. And then another suggestion is to really pay attention to when you're getting to the break point. So instead of like an indicator. So completely inappropriate example, but it's the one that popped into my head. When you get done with a shower and I am not cleaning the squeegeeing, right? Squeegee the window in the shower after a shower, I know I'm tired. Like I'm really tired because I got energy every day. I squeegee that thing, right? I'm like, no problem. But if there's a day where I'm just like, I'm just exhausted to the point where I'm not even going to squeegee this thing, it's an indicator to me that I just need to go lay down. I need to stop pushing. I need to stop executing. I need to stop everything I'm doing. And I just need to go lay down and get some sleep so that I don't get to a point where I'm getting sick or I'm biting people's heads off or whatever it is. So that's, and I think for me, I have this analysis part of my personality, so I'm able to do that. But if you guys don't have that, you need to try to figure out some things that go, oh, I just did this, or oh, I just said that, or oh, I felt this. And that tells you that I'm getting close to that break point of when I lose it. So I need to switch gears here. I need to figure out how to address this differently. Does that make sense?
Mine is just like, they'll say one thing. I mean, I am, good with just letting it go, but then they'll say one thing that sets me off.
Like what? Can you give us an example?
Oh my gosh. Being accused of being controlling when they were actually projecting what they were doing on me.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, no, we're not going here. And so it wasn't, flying off the handle, screaming and yelling, what kind of a person do you think you are, and blah, blah, blah. It's more of, my voice does go up, because usually my voice stays down, but it's stating the facts.
Yeah.
It's not belittling anybody. It's not, griping them out. It's more of stating facts. This is what I'm seeing. This is what you're doing. This is how I see it. And then I continue on with the rest of the conversation. But it's just that stern voice that I project instead of the calm, nice, oh yeah.
You got communication too, right at 7. That's
yeah.
I'm like, where is that coming from?
Yeah. And the includer. And so, I've got the empathy, I've got the includer. And so it just, the harmony, it just, keeps on building and building and building. It's like, it's not the 3 strikes and you're out. It's like more like 10 or 20, but then there'll be one thing.
And you got that belief too. So like if someone goes up against your beliefs or what you think is right, or, then you're going to stand up for that as well. Yeah.
Yes. And that's usually and that's when I start coming back with, here's the facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what's going on. This is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. It makes sense. And I wanted to show you guys this communication with harmony that you have, Chad and Michelle. This is really rare. Out of over 300 people in the database, only 4 people have it as a top 5 strength. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to the slides. You guys can see that the most frequently paired strength with harmony is responsibility. Okay. It's about 36% of the time. And then what you never see paired together is harmony and ideation. Okay. So let's talk about some of these. So when you have harmony and adaptability paired together, it heightens it. Okay. Because harmony is this really harmonic and accommodating, and, and adaptability is, let me just adapt to your needs and do whatever I need to do to flex here to make this work. So you just get this extremely adaptable, accommodating person when you have someone that has both. Okay. And then when it's with consistency, you get a very practical person, because both harmony and consistency, which by the way are paired together like 55% of the time, they're rooted in logic and practicality. Also, if you're harmonic and includer, you have a bit of an intensification. Includers are naturally like accepting, non-judgmental, inclusive of everybody. Harmony are this kind, peaceful, accommodating. So you just get this really strong collaborator when you have includer and harmony together.
That's me. Includers number 3, harmony is number 6.
Yeah. So it's really, really strong for you to make sure everybody's voice is heard, make sure everybody's included. Very, very, very democratic way of.
And adaptability is number 8.
Yeah. 2 and 4 for me.
So we're pretty much peas in a pod, huh, Michelle?
I know. It kind of sound like it, don't we?
So let's take a look just from a statistic standpoint. What if we do harmony and includer? Go away. Communication. Let's see how often we see that. Oh, wow. Only one, Michelle?
It's just me.
Yeah, it's just you.
Chad's not in here. Wow. Okay. So that's,
well, they're,
because it's in my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both are in my top 5.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's really rare because, like, look at this. If I put in something like, let's say, strategic and futuristic, okay,
Mona Lisa.
you're going to see 20 results come up. So that's normal for a database of 300.
Yeah, those people are a dime a dozen.
this here is really, really rare.
Michelle's a rare bird.
Yeah.
I'm the purple squirrel.
Okay. So disconnectors, remember, these are not strengths that necessarily don't get along. It just means that they have to talk a lot and get a lot of understanding, because otherwise they could butt heads in certain areas. So for example, harmony really cares about how people are treated, and they care about, how people are feeling, and they care about, the respect levels. Activators not really in tune to that as much. Activators are kind of impatient. Harmony are really patient, and activators are kind of like, my process is messy. I'm just going to go, get everything moving and get everything started. Unless you're like Natalie, who has both, then it's cool, because then she's getting things started, she's getting things going, but she's also being harmonious about that and caring about how people are being impacted by that. And if you have analytical, I knew somebody who was harmony and analytical, by the way. That was a very weird combination, because the analytical would come out and be really strong and stern, and then he would backpedal and be like, okay, but is everything okay? Is everything nice? Because analytical is very direct and candid, and is really trying to unveil the truths and the root cause, where harmony tends to be less direct. They're kind of beating around the bush sometimes.
That's like my last one.
Yeah.
Brandy, good afternoon. This is Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Can I ask a quick question? Keeping this in mind, thank you, as you review the slides. What I find interesting with harmony and these disconnects is that 2 of the disconnects are actually in my top 5.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Yes, my number 1 is intellection, followed by number 2, harmony, and then analytical is number 5.
Right. So
interesting mix, it appears.
Exactly. Because when we think about, an intellect doesn't mind debate. It doesn't mind, intellectually discussing things, and it doesn't need to be harmonious necessarily. But if you have harmony, then you are going to love engaging in these intellectual discussions in a harmonious way. So let's just take a look at that, because I always love looking at the database. It tells us a lot about, like you said, if you're a pink squirrel or a purple squirrel or an orange squirrel. Okay, so intellection. So if we just look at intellects in here, we see 37 people. Now let's see how many of those intellects are actually harmonious. Yeah, not very many, just a few. Okay. And then your third one was analytical, right? Yeah, and we just that one. Yeah. Okay. Where, like, for example, if you look at intellection and analytical together, we should see way more of those. Yeah, there's 9. So that's a little bit higher. Okay, so
excellent, thank you, because I think intellectually I do appreciate the good debate, but ultimately want to find harmony and consensus. So in a way, they're not so opposite. So thank you for bringing that together, Brandy.
Yes, and the way that you might actually do it, Kelly, is you might go, I want to have this intellectual discussion and debate so that we can get into a place of harmony and agreement and alignment.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously command is that opposite. Command embraces conflict. Harmony does not. Harmony thinks things can be discussed peacefully and resolved peacefully. Command is direct. Harmony is not necessarily direct. And again, some of you are going, Brandy, but I'm direct and I have harmony. Well, because of your other strengths. It's just, if we look at harmony by itself without anything else around it, it's typically not where your directness is coming from. It's another strength that does that.
I'm sorry, Brandy, to interrupt, but Kelly, in your debates, do you normally, for lack of a better, win those debates? Those intellectual debates?
That's an interesting way to phrase it, and not the word choice I would use at all. I would say, can I bring the other person around to understanding my perspective? And as a result of that, can we find consensus? That might be compromise, etc. But can we find consensus to move forward?
So just asking now back to you, Brandy, could it be said that the debate is in as she said, to get to the harmony, to get everyone thinking along the same.
So yeah, let me clarify that. So if I have intellection competition, like you just said, Chad, these two people are debating to win.
Okay.
That's the reason they're debating. They're debating to have a debate competition to win the debate, to win the argument. Okay, so that's different than Kelly, who's wanting to intellectually discuss something in order for two people to be able to come around to, okay, we see each other's perspective and we can get into an agreement and alignment of what to do next, what we need to do and what decisions we need to make.
So although I phrased all of my questions poorly, I think you answered them all correctly. And I did get what I was looking for from both of you.
Okay. You didn't phrase them poorly. You're just, this is the thing, right? StrengthsFinder is so specific. And so just an interchange of a word changes the definition or the meaning of the phrase or the sentence or the words. And that's really important. And that's what I love about strengths is when I'm working with people, it's very specific to them. And, I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but for me, I would be in a situation where I'd be like, I love, this activity here, but I hate this activity over here. So for example, I don't enjoy project managing other people and keeping track of them and making sure they're doing their jobs, but I'm a great project manager. I keep track of things and I make sure everybody knows what's coming and where we're going. So it's interesting because when you look at the strengths, there's reasons why you may like something in one arena, but not like it in another arena. And that's kind of the intricacies that come out when we study individuals, how strengths are structured for each individual.
All right, and I'm done. I'm sorry if I'm hijacking the call.
No, you guys, these are really good. This is really good conversation. I'd much rather, you guys can read all the slides later. I'd much rather you ask these questions and get your questions answered so you can leave here feeling like, you got something out of this call today.
So I have a question.
I'll take your time. Yeah, Brad.
So on a flip side, because apparently I'm at the other end of the spectrum.
Okay.
We can debate and discuss all y'all want, but here's where we're going. So.
Yeah,
but thank you for letting us have exercise our
absolutely
getting it out. That is very appreciative. Also, just at least hearing it out, even though you may hear it, you may not be listening, or at least listening but not hearing, however it is. But thank you.
Here, but we're still going this way.
But again, thank you for letting us exercise those thoughts.
And you can see Brad directs with his number one. He just directs. And then the rest is all this purple is about getting it done. It's about execution. Okay. He's building relationships on the individualization and relator front. And then he's influencing through the maximizer self-assurance. But the green is primarily down at the bottom. It's mostly just the strategic that comes into play. So, he's strategically saying, this is the plan, let's go, but let's get it done. Let's deliver to clients. Let's get people in the right spots. Let's make sure we understand everybody's talent so they can be productive. Let's arrange them. Let's make sure, we're relating with people. So he really doesn't need to sit here and have some intellectual discussion just to learn. It's like, nah, that's for the bees.
Y'all can discuss it when I leave. How about that?
Yeah.
It's already been laid out. I'm just here to execute it and make sure it's executed.
Okay. Competition obviously wishes to win. Harmony wishes to collaborate. So those two can butt heads. Although I have met the collaborative competitors, they love to win, but they love to win as a team. And then, we discussed the intellects. Ideation is one of those abstract disruptive strengths, again, where harmony is like, I want to, work together and collaborate. So those two can butt heads sometimes. Restorative is one of those very, this is the problem, we need to fix it. They're very direct, very candid. And so they can butt heads with that harmonic personality as well. Although I know some of you on the call today have harmony and restorative, which means you are trying to solve problems. You want to talk about it candidly. You want to get the problem out on the table, but you want to do it in a nice, collaborative, agreeing way. You don't want to hurt people's feelings and decrease the collaboration because of the problem that you're trying to solve. And then here's that strategic, where strategic tends to be direct and likes to address conflict head on, where harmony tends to be less direct and avoid conflict. So connectors, and these are just strengths that harmony gravitates towards and gets along with really well. Connectedness, who values just connecting with those humans and, you know, really trying to create a connection. Harmony enjoys that. Both consistency and harmony are very practical, so they get along really well. Deliberative people get along with harmony well because deliberative are very careful, and they're you know, wanting to make sure that you know, things are okay, that this person's okay, that they're not a risk. And harmony people tend to just be nice and have good intent and, you know, really just trying to be collaborative, so they get along well. And then the developers out there love to grow people, they love to help people, they love to nurture and coach, and so harmony get along well with them as well.
My husband has 3 of those.
Okay, there you go.
I have those in my top 5.
Yes.
Harmony, well, harmony is number 6, but positivity, includer. Those are my top. Positivity is number 2, includer is number 3.
Right. So that just tells us it's highly likely that you will get along with other harmonic people very well.
So, no, I don't have harmony, but I had connectedness and the developer. In my top 5.
Yeah, so you might get along with a harmonic person as well too. You Lily might not need anything to get along well with them because you got connectedness. You get along with everybody really well, but the harmony person will get along well with you because of those 2 strengths that you have.
Got it. Yeah.
And then we have our empaths. You know, the harmony people love the empaths because the empaths are sensitive. They care about people's feelings. They love the includers because the includers are accepting and accommodating. They love learners. Now, the reason for this is because harmony, remember, they defer to expertise to get agreement and alignment. So they enjoy hearing people's perspectives, and they recruit that. And learners also love to learn. They love to teach. They love to be those experts sometimes. And then I
also have includer in my top 5.
Okay.
On this list. Well, I want to apologize for walking in so late. I just got off Microsoft Teams team interview for
that's okay. I hope it went well.
Yeah, I think looks like their expectations, technical knowledge and hands-on were much higher than what I have to offer. But they were very helpful in suggesting ways that I might overcome that by working on independent projects to showcase the fact that I know about it. Yeah, so I might start.
Lily, did you know we have people on this call from Microsoft?
I noticed that.
Okay.
I did notice.
Yeah, so feel free to exchange information and have a chat about what position you applied for. Okay, so harmony are obviously not at their best when the debates are high, the friction is high, the conflict is high, people aren't listening, people aren't getting along, there's no collaboration. This is not a environment where they're going to feel productive, where they're going to feel at peace, where they're going to feel comfortable. This is not their cup of tea. So I want to give you guys a difference. So I may have one person over here who loves being, let's say, some sort of doctor, and I have another person over here who loves being some sort of doctor, you know, helping people, and for whatever reason, they love to study the medical stuff. One's harmonic, one's not. So you may see one gravitate towards an emergency room situation where there's always emergencies and they're always having to take care of people that are hurt and in pain and, you know, that are, critical. A harmonic person might not like that environment because it's not harmonious. They might like something like going down the path of becoming a nutritionist where it's a harmonic environment, or a naturopath where everybody's, you know, caring about the peace feeling when you walk into the office. So that's the difference. You can have doctors, they can both be doctors, they can both be brilliant and amazing, but one likes the harmonic environment and one likes the disruptive environment. Their best environments are the ones where there's huge support. There's people are listening. It's highly collaborative. People are accommodating one another. And I'm sure you guys on the call with High Harmony, you have felt at your best when you have been in those highly collaborative groups of people or teams or moments. I know for me, that's been very gratifying as well. Okay, so you're going to hear all these wonderful things about you, about how practical you are, how accommodating you are, how you get everybody into an agreement alignment, how you always make sure everybody's voice is heard. All these wonderful things are what you're going to hear when you're in an environment that is conducive to your strengths. So think of it this way. I'm using my harmony muscle. I'm flexing it. It's wanted. And so then it's going over well. But if I'm flexing that harmony muscle and it is not the time for that, or it's just not the right environment, then, you know, you're going to hear some things about yourself, like you're too passive and you're non-confrontational and you always avoid confrontation and you don't deal well with debates and arguments and friction, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure you guys have heard these things. I have, you know, in those high conflict environments. What we like to be acknowledged for as harmonious people is that we are good listeners and that we're supportive and we're collaborative and we're good at getting people to work together and we're great facilitators and we get people into an agreement and alignment easily. So when they communicate, as you can imagine, they're supportive, they're collaborative. They, like Michelle said, they keep their voices low. They're soothing and peaceful and kind. And if you're lucky enough to have positivity along with it too, you even smile. And so, yeah, it's usually a very nice, let's say that nice conversation. So what do we do in return? Remember, Harmony loves to get this in return. So we just mimic that. We just listen, we ask for their opinions, we be really nice and kind and accommodating during those conversations. We want to refrain from being argumentative and full of conflict and rude, right? Those things don't go over well with Harmony. And these things that we're talking about, guys, are Harmony's values. And that's why they can become so passive aggressive when, if someone's not being nice to someone else, or if someone's being unkind, or if someone's not accommodating, or if someone's being, too conflictual or bringing too much friction in, they can just really, really, really get frustrated with that. And because they're so harmonic, they don't want to be mean about it or hurt somebody's feelings or say something, but at the same time, they feel like something needs to be said. And so if they haven't learned those conflict management skills or tools, it can be difficult to operate in that environment. Okay, here's a couple of engaging questions for them. You do have to ask Harmony, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions? They are not going to impose their views, thoughts, or opinions on you. So they must be asked those questions so they feel comfortable stating them and expressing them and sharing them with you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now, selling and influencing is not Harmony's cup of tea. Okay. So if you are a person that's in sales or needing to influence and you have Harmony, here's some ways that you can do that. Obviously, just listening gains you a whole lot of ground, because the more you learn about somebody or something, the more that you can actually have the information you need to influence. You can always bring in experts to let them help you sell something. I think it's really great, like when salespeople bring in sales engineers, for example, that help sell the system and the, sort of the framework of a system. And we can, work at how do we work together? How do we collaborate as a team? You could build the long-term relationship with a client and help them come, you guys can come together to find solutions and use your products or services to help them. So it's more of that relationship building side of sales and influence. And obviously, if we're selling to them, there's lots of things we can hit on. We can, listen to them, ask them questions, establish common ground. We can refrain from, being highly confrontational. And we can say, okay, this product or service is going to help your teams collaborate more. It's going to help you facilitate, sessions in a way that gets everybody on board or in agreement. If we have products and services that do that, that's going to appeal to this side of their personality.
So Brandy, does that suggest that this group makes very good account managers, client relationship managers?
Absolutely. Yes. Anything that needs to maintain that long-term relationship with a client, they're so collaborative. Anything that requires high collaboration, these guys are really good at. So yes, Brad, that's accurate.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lily's in here interviewing. So here's some ways that she can talk about her harmony in an interview. She can share how she goes about gaining consensus. She can get on common ground with the interviewer. She can keep things, like the discussion at a very practical, clear action topic type conversation. She can provide examples of when she's been able to mediate effectively or get people in agreement and alignment or consensus and how that impacted the business.
Oh, you want me to now? Is that what you're saying? Later.
Say again?
I know, but you're just making a comment, or were you suggesting that I?
Yeah, I'm just saying no. I have no idea what,
That's with everyone pretty much who goes for an interview. So many behavioral questions these days.
Yeah, but there's also different ways to answer them based on your different strengths. And, some people's strength is not collaboration. You may think that everybody goes into an interview wanting to be seen as collaborative, and that's not necessarily the case. It depends on the role, and it depends on the interviewer, and it depends on the person's strengths. All those things matter.
Right, and giving examples, for example, because I was on my high school basketball team, and the school gave us such great coaches. We got selected to represent the state schoolgirls team. So I bring it forth. I know, even though it's not professional, I say, the team spirit is very deeply ingrained in me, because at a very formative stage, that was my life, and I've experienced celebrating successes with a group of people, and there's nothing to describe that. And I look forward to being able to do that in a work environment as well. And in cybersecurity, communication and collaboration are all important, especially because it's come to the point where really in the entire industry, we need to collaborate, because there are small outfits that can't afford to have a team.
And I think what you're really saying is that moment in time that you guys, on your basketball team, I think it was so important to you because you have harmony. I think you've had harmony since you were young, and that really hit on that, and it really made an impression, because because I think if you go back and ask all of your team members what about that moment meant something to them, I think you're going to discover they have different answers.
They were interesting, very interesting. I got my the entire list of 34. I should go look at it to see where harmony shows up on that list.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways that we can identify, like, whether we're talking to a harmonic person or not. We might not know, we might not have their strengths right in front of us. So the things we want to pay attention to is this person extremely peaceful, accommodating, and nice? Does this person avoid or seem to be uncomfortable with conflict? Or does this person refrain from sharing his or her views and opinions? If you're seeing these things, then you can say, okay, maybe this person is just highly, highly harmonic. And they're actually going to use these words below. They're going to use the words collaboration. They're going to use the words common ground and getting on the same page and aligning and agreeing and doing things together, collectively, collaboratively. You'll actually hear these come out of their mouths. These are also the words that you should be using when you're engaging with them, if you want to engage them effectively. Okay, so these are just a few thoughts for the harmonic people on the call. Since conflict is not enjoyable to you, you must find ways to deal with conflict in a positive, healthy way rather than a passive-aggressive way. Passive aggressiveness occurs when someone avoids conflict. So develop non-confrontational conflict resolution techniques or partner with those that easily address conflict. I'm going to pause and come down here for just a second. This book here is really good about that. It's called Learning to Love, From Conflict to Lasting Harmony. It was a relationship book that I read, but I got so much more out of this book from a harmony standpoint and how to harmonically deal with conflict well with others in a way that felt good, that I recommend it to every harmony person to read that book. And then I also think learning the skills in Never Split the Difference is great because it's just psychological skills that you can deploy at any time. When you hear something, you can say something back, and it's psychologically triggering to someone. So you can keep everything at a non-confrontational level because you are engaging in their empathy and, just trying to keep things practical and keep them in a space where they're open and vulnerable to talking to you and making good decisions. So I think those two are really, really good reads for a harmonic person. Okay. So, your desire for agreement could interfere with progress if you're really trying to get everybody on board and not everybody is coming on board. We need to draw the line somewhere and say, look, the majority is ready to go here. So you can still keep working with the people who aren't agreeing, but you need to let the rest of the group go so that progress isn't stunted. You may downplay situations that are crucial to resolve quickly. Sometimes conflict is inevitable and necessary to progress. So just like Michelle said, we've got to understand when it's just time to have the conflict or to have the conversation or to be candid. And I think it's really effective to be somewhat candid up front and learn how to do that in a harmonious way so that we're not beating around the bush for too long. That can get really frustrating to both parties. If you constantly avoid conflict, you may be perceived as being afraid to confront or as though you will avoid conflicts at all costs. When you take the time to learn where the conflict is coming from, your understanding will enable you to address it. So there's no reason to be afraid. It's to more ask the question, this person is really upset right now and they're really angry and they're yelling at me. Why? What makes them do this? What makes them this upset? Where's this fear coming from? What's driving them to behave like this? It's not me, right? It's never you. It's always coming from the person, and they're potentially projecting. So you just have to ask the why. We need to learn techniques to effectively diffuse conflict and eliminate friction. A bit of conflict can be a great first step towards harmony. And when people take advantage of your good, kind, harmonic nature, number one, now you know who they are. And number two, you can just shift that to practical matters and get less emotionally involved when people are doing that so that you can make good decisions instead of feeding into that type of behavior. You may tend to modify your own objectives to accommodate and appease others, but we always need to understand what are our values, what do we care about, what are our boundaries, and we need to stay true to those thoughts and opinions, even if we're trying to appease or accommodate. And lastly, if you always accommodate others and never have an opinion of your own, you could be perceived as not having a backbone and not standing for anything. So you got to find your voice and occasionally express it. Any thoughts, guys, about that? Those considerations?
I do actually about entirely say sometimes culturally, especially children are taught be polite, never, be brash, and it may even be in geographical areas. For example, up north, people are more open and they are considered arrogant. No, I may be a little brash, but they speak their minds. Whereas after I moved to Texas, I find a lot more politeness. So I don't know if it's like deep down there wanting harmony or, I've been taught to be this way, but they're boiling inside,
So what do you guys think is one of the most harmonious cultures in the world? Have you thought about that? Because remember, these are genetics. So when we bear children, if there's a portion of the world who is, you know, bearing children with high harmony, then there's
the Japanese maybe.
Yeah, the Asian cultures is where I see harmony, consistency the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one where I'll see the weird things too, like harmony and command, but I'll still see harmony. Yeah, it's very prevalent because
that's a good combination.
Yeah, it's in the genetics. It's also, you know, because it's in the genetics, it's being taught. And so it's being, you know, when you take a strength and you encourage it, then it gets more powerful. So yeah, that's right. Okay. Obviously harmony is full of collaboration. So I'm going to skip this slide because we've been talking about nonstop collaboration. Harmony collaborates, period. And I think I've explained to you guys how you can best collaborate with a harmonic person. It's really, you know, to mimic these types of behaviors and to want to work with them and collaborate with them. It's funny when you're working with a command person who does not want to collaborate with you and you're a harmonic person going, I would like to work with you. I want to collaborate. Can we do this together? And he's like, no, you know, no, thanks. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go find someone else to collaborate with. You know, so if you do have people that are harmonic on your teams, they just really want to work together. They enjoy that. And then you guys can read through these later. These are all the strengths partnerships, the different types of people that the different types of personalities that harmony might want to collaborate with in order to achieve a particular thing. And I think it's important for you know, the harmony people to value every single one of these people, even the commander, you know, even the activator, the ones that might cause some friction, because they can help you move things along. They can help you actually collaborate in the long run and get things done. So it's just a matter of understanding their strengths and potential and how to leverage those to what you need them to do, which is what I've listed out here. Okay, so we're zooming through these guys because we have about 8 minutes. Harmony are great in relationships because of the fact that they're collaborative. If we're partnering with your harmonic partner, it's really important, like I said before, to leave the door open, right? Asking their opinions, asking their thoughts, allowing them to express themselves and their views. And just making sure that they have a voice in the relationship, because they can become more passive or accommodating and just, you know, fall into the trap of we just always do what you want to do and not actually doing the things they love doing and enjoying their life with you as a partner. So it's important to continuously help them open up. Parenting. So if you're a harmonic parent, you have this wonderful opportunity to teach your children how to be more collaborative. You know, teaching them your collaborative ways, showing them how to get people in agreement and alignment, you know, helping them understand why it's important for everybody's voice to be heard. You know, also keeping them in a sort of a pragmatic, practical zone when they get frustrated with things, always bringing them back down, you know, to ground level. Now, if you have a high harmony child, this is tricky sometimes because, again, they hate conflict and children don't always do the right thing. So we do have to have some conflict with them. So it's important to have the calm discussions with them, to take the time that they need to build the relationship, to understand what they did wrong, to understand they're still loved, to, you know, make sure that they know that you guys are on the same team and that you guys are working together, and that, you know, I think this is a really important child to have that symbiosis with of, okay, I did this wrong here. You did this wrong here. We're in it together. We're partners here. You know, yes, of course I'm your parent first, but these guys just need to feel a high amount of harmony and collaboration between the parent and themselves. Okay. And if you're a leader, you've got all kinds of things to bring to the table, making sure everybody's voice is heard, mediating conflict between members, getting people working together, and also, you know, helping everybody come around and buy into whatever direction we all need to go. And it's important for leaders to effectively figure out how to deal with conflict. Leaders specifically are going to deal with conflict among the other leaders, as well as, you know, with the people that they're managing. And although it's uncomfortable sometimes to, you know, deal with the conflict, it's important to learn how, because essentially, if you sit there and practice dealing with conflict when you're a non-confrontational person, it gets better, it gets easier. So I think it's so important to learn how to do it and then to practice it so that you can just start feeling more comfortable with it. And I think that's essential to somebody who's got harmony and who's a leader. I have a friend, she has a harmonious leader, and it's going so badly because he won't stand up for the team members. And the team members are under some distress and he just won't do it. And so it's not working for him as a leader. It's working against him as a leader. Okay. And if you are managing a harmonic person, obviously, getting on the same page with them, constantly establishing common ground with them, always coming back to topics of agreement and alignment. Even if you have some disagreements and some confrontation, always just coming back around to we're on the same team, we're collaborating. Asking them to be a program manager or bring groups of people together, or, you know, get an agreement or an alignment between different teams. This is really an area where they can come in strong for the team. If you have a harmonic boss, you know, it's again important to have a harmonious relationship with them. It's probably the indicator I'm talking too much.
Bless you.
Thank you. And so what's interesting about dealing with a harmony manager is when you do have conflict or you do have a disagreement and you have those things brought up, it's important to be considerate of their considerate nature. Someone else want to say something? It's empty. Because if you address them in a conflictual way, then you're really going to hurt the relationship long-term with a person who can determine whether you work there or not, and how your finances look. Okay, when you have harmony and your manager does not, you know, let's say you have a high conflictual manager and you're trying to be harmonic. This is one of the most difficult situations that I have been in. So having a command manager at Sabre, when I was there, high conflict, was directing me to be high conflict, was telling me that I needed to address things a certain way. And he, of course, was commanding me to do it. And I was saying no, which he doesn't like. Command don't like being told no, because I just didn't believe in it. I believed in collaboration and working together and making sure everybody could see the metrics and everybody could be a part of it and everybody could collaborate. And he and I just really had a hard time working together. But what it came down to is finding spaces that he could work in and he did well, and then finding spaces for me where I worked well. And we just sort of managed that and coped. I coped. I think he did too. Actually, I think it was very painful for him as well. Okay, if you're a coach, you know, obviously it's a team effort thing that we're going for. We're collaborating together. We're finding solutions together. It has to be a happy, positive experience for this person, or they will not want to be coached by you. And just really giving this person a voice to speak and share with you their perspective, their thoughts, their opinions, their views, their desires, their goals. And as a coach, then after listening to all that, you can really say, okay, I want the best for you. I have, you know, my intent is really just to help you. And so then how can I, here's some resources or here's some things that might be able to do that. And if you are harmony and you are a coach, you can use all your wonderful collaboration skills to work with your clients on a long-term basis to develop those relationships, manage the relationships, and help them be successful. And then here's a list of things that you guys can do if you're high harmony. And these are the types of jobs you should also be looking for, jobs where you can execute and do these things. What else, harmony people? Is there some other things you would like to share with the group today to help others understand your harmonic nature, what it means, how it transpires? This is a list of if you have too much harmony, or if you have not enough harmony, or if you're in that optimal zone of harmony. So if you don't have enough harmony, you could be seen as uncollaborative, you could be unliked, you could not be a team player, you could be seen as unkind or mean, dictative, conflictual, argumentative. Where if you're optimal, you're collaborating, it's peaceful, it's practical, it's non-imposing, there's consensus, agreement, support, common ground. And then if you have excessive harmony, it could be, again, you see it as passive aggressive, a pushover, no backbone, you walked all over, you can take advantage of you. You actually feel like you can disregard these people because they just don't speak up for themselves and don't hold their own. So you can just literally just walk all over them. You don't want to be like that. None of us want to be like that. So we want to understand how to communicate, how to state our opinions and our views when necessary, how to set boundaries. That's really important. How to choose good partners for ourselves. And here's some career paths that people that have harmony that have really enjoyed. I have another one I should put on here. She actually was I don't know how to put this, but she developed a garden for schools so that the schools could eat, the children at the schools could eat fresh food every day. I don't know.
Would that be a nutritionist?
Well, maybe kind of, I guess, right? Because that's what ultimately she was caring about. So I guess this fits. Yeah. When I think of a nutritionist, I think of someone behind a desk who's sitting there helping you come up with your meal plan. But she was actually building the garden. She was in the ground. And she was teaching the kids how to.
Well, that would be more on the lines of a trainer or a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did some training and teaching as well. Yeah. Okay, anything else that you guys would like to ask?
Brandy, I just want to say thank you. Having harmony as my number 2, what I found so interesting in your presentation is it really addressed the way I think, the type of environment in which I enjoy or don't, and then also how I communicate with others. So it was really effective and very insightful, and I'm very appreciative for you sharing your time and talents with us today. That was great.
You're so welcome. I really appreciate you joining the call. And I know your little intellection loves looking at these things from all those different perspectives. So I'm glad that it's useful to you.
Yeah, actually, I think it's even more beneficial to be at one of these where you're talking about strengths that aren't mine. So I know how to, because my report already tells me about me. And
that's right.
Where I need to be,
That's
really
right.
Appreciated that. Yeah, I haven't been able to get on one of these until now, but today I said, no, I have to do this.
Yeah, and to address something that you're saying, I need to show you guys this slide. I'm trying to think of where this slide is. I'll bring it next time. My little logo, the raindrop. Let's go down here. This raindrop right here. It's kind of a fire and kind of a droplet. I actually have a whole framework around this because the first strengths intelligence that you get is when you understand your own strengths. And when you understand your own strengths, you can perform as an individual. And that's the flame here. Okay. But as we start hurling towards the water, where we're going to have some conflict, right? We need to understand how to work with others. And so then all of a sudden we become interested in other people and their strengths and working well with them. Now, once we start to work well with others and we feel like we're a good team player, which is when we're hurling down and, we've got this droplet now, when we hit the water is when we become a leader. Because when you're a leader, you have a huge ripple effect across your people's lives, teams. And we can only get there once we've mastered self and mastered collaboration with others. Then we go, I might want to lead. And when you become a leader, now you're trying to help everybody else understand themselves and you're trying to help them perform, but you're also, and trying to increase collaboration, but you're also trying to figure out how to lead with your strengths. And one leader from another leader to another leader, everybody leads differently with the strengths that they have. And so that's another part of the strength intelligence, is to actually become a leader who leads with strengths that are different from someone else's. And then you get into, okay, let me step it up to departments and actually impact even more people. And then let me step it up into executive levels where I'm impacting multiple departments. And maybe I even need to create a culture of strengths and how to do that. So there's, to me, 5 different layers-ish of the natural progression for people. And after you get through the self-performance, it's the collaboration, and then it's actually, stepping into leadership with those strengths.
I think it's also the skill of being able to identify strengths in others, because no one's going to tell me, hey, these are my top 5.
That's
so
right.
I have to, when you told us about harmonies, like one person came to mind immediately, and she's in my social circle, actually, from my life group at my church. But
yes,
and she's taken Strengths Finders. So next time I talk to her, I'll ask her, hey, is harmony on your top 5? Because we're close friends too.
It's very good, Lily, because now if you understand that she has harmony and you know how to interact with her effectively, you can say, oh, if someone's not responding to, you shaking them or talking to them sternly, or, trying to have a conflict with them, like, you have to stop that because it's not working. And in fact, harmony disrespect that. I mean, they get so passive. I had one girl, I loved her honesty. She was a customer service rep, and she said, if someone on the other line talks to me in a high confrontational way, I put them on hold and I serve them last. Now, that might not be ethical, but she was like, she didn't feel like
too abrasive to her eyes.
Her attention. Yeah, her good customer service, when there's this other really nice person over here who she was happy to help.
So she found her too abrasive, or
well, I don't know that that was ethical, so I'm not sure I would recommend that, but I thought it was nice that she was honest about how she felt.
And this same friend I was mentioning thinks I'm blunt.
Yes, because
I'm very open.
Yes.
And then she starts giggling and I don't do it in an insulting way or hurtful way. For example, the leader of the group, because he handed it over to another man in the team, in the group. And so this man, the very first week, he was kind of saying, yeah, it's just come on my shoulders when I already have. So I said once, I'd be happy to assist you. Let me know in what way I can assist you now that, And then towards the end, when we were about to have, I said, I'll be waiting to hear from you and your wife. So sweet. So I said, yeah, that because you whined. And this lady started laughing because I told him he whined. And he said, yeah, I whined. And I said, yeah, you whined twice. So I had to, do something to help you lead this group.
Yeah. But also, if you said it with a sense of humor and with positivity, then it can be taken.
Positivity.
You might be able to get away with, saying.
Yeah. And then the other guy, another guy, who's just part of the group, he said, yeah, I just make up things. Yeah, we already know that. And she burst out laughing.
But that also tells me that you're saying it in a non-judgmental way.
Yeah, matter of fact.
Because if you say something in a judgmental way, like, yeah, we know, then the person takes offense. But if you're just like, yeah, we know, like, it's okay, then people don't take offense to that necessarily. So it's really all about in the way. And it's really not just in the way we're saying it, but the way we're thinking about it, right? Like if we're thinking about it like, oh, this guy is just a pain, and then it comes out that way, that person feels it. But if we're just like, oh, we love you, even though you have these human, deficiencies, then, people generally can take that feedback well, actually.
Did you say, was there more than one person from Microsoft?
Yeah. We had a whole crew on here today. I don't know.
There was only one who said Microsoft in parentheses, but within a minute or so after you mentioned that to me, she got off the call. I said, I hope that's not the
shy. No, there were multiple people.
Do you usually have some from some recruiters or whatever, just like that?
So this call is just a strengths call. So it's anybody who's interested in Clifton Strengths. So most of the people on here actually
I've been fascinated by it. I'm sold on it right from the time I took it in 2009, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm so glad you got to join today.
I know I've been waiting to. It's a recurring calendar entry, but I've not been able. I thought it was for 15 minutes or at the most 30 minutes. But nice if it's for 1 hour.
It's for 1 hour every week.
Insight. And I noticed on the list today, next week it's responsible or.
That's right. Responsibility.
That's my number one on my top 5.
Okay. Yeah, that should be a great one to cover.
I hope I can make it.
Yeah, me too. So, okay, I'm going to close the call and I've landed here. Lily, if you have not done this, you can go out to strengthology.co. It's $12 to register and you can put your strengths in there. And that's going to allow you to see all these lovely graphs and get all this information. This is the tool that I have built to help you guys with your strengths. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that.
Make a note of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The requirements are scaled down a lot these days, but they still expect a lot.
I know.
The cybersecurity, because I'm still trying to break into that space. Are you still with that company?
Nope, I left Intrusion last July, so almost a year now. I've been on my own, just doing leadership consulting.
Okay. Yeah, because the last I heard from you, you passed on my resume to what was it, the vice president or something like that. Never heard after that. But then up until about a couple of months ago, it was still very demanding, entry level, and they demand all these, all this.
Yeah, cybersecurity is still in really, really high demand. If you want, send me, your resume offline again, and I can maybe just, do you have my email address, Lily? Because you can send me what you're trying to do at this time.
Will I find it on your LinkedIn? Because I think we have first level connections now.
Brandy.shade@strengthology.co.
Okay.
I'm trying to send this to everyone. Actually, I don't know. Everyone in the meeting. Go. There you go. All right. So for all of you who joined, feel free to drop off. I'm going to stop the recording here as well. And Lily, if you want to hang on here for just a second, you and I can chat. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Stop share and stop.